right, welcome everyone, and happy launch day for Deaf Athletic, as well as happy World Hearing Day. We are gathered together to celebrate, to reflect on uh, the seed of an idea that blossomed into this incredible new brand, and really just kind of talk about the journey to get to today. So we'll take a little bit of time to introduce all of ourselves, but of course, I want to begin with you, Dennis, the founder and CEO of Deaf Athletic. Can you share with everyone a little bit about your background, your story, and really what inspired you to create Deaf Athletic?
Sure. I'm happy to do that, of course. Um, I guess this story really begins with the fact that I was born with some hearing loss that got progressively worse as I aged. And around the time I was in my mid-20s, I started wearing hearing aids full time. And uh, I'm also a recreational athlete. And so the the kind of the light bulb moment for Deaf Athletic was a culmination of experiences that I've had as a recreational athlete, running, biking, whatever, and getting surprised by either vehicles or, like, if you're in a competition, other runners or bikers coming up from behind and not being able to hear them. And it was actually in the fall of 2018 where it sort of clicked into this idea of, what if I, had something on that could alert people that I couldn't hear, make myself safer, but also uh, give them the opportunity to be safer around me. So that's really, kind of the essence of, where the whole idea came from. I didn't have any real spare time to work on the idea until last year in July, when I retired from a 30-year career at Cummins Incorporated. And I thought it would take a little bit longer, but I pretty quickly jumped into working on Deaf Athletic in August. And so here we are on March 3rd, doing our kind of official launch. So.
Yeah, I love hearing you recall that real light bulb moment happened, many, many years ago in 2018, but took a while to incubate. But as soon as you kind of started a new chapter and had more time to dedicate to this, it's been a pretty swift ride from there, and has come together relatively quickly, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, and you two have been a big part of it. And if we might just talk a little bit about the brand
Yeah,
itself.
of course.
It we're offering, Deaf Athletic is going to be offering high performance gear for, specifically for deaf and hard of hearing athletes. That's our thing. And kind of our mission is, first and foremost, is to help make athletes safer by wearing the things that we'll offer. And we do that in a couple of ways. One is with using high contrast colors like you're seeing here, um, on the garments, and then the others by literally informing people by putting the Deaf Athletic logo big on the back of the garments, that the person that's wearing this piece is deaf or hard of hearing. So that's the first mission, is safety. The second is what I call utility and appeal. So it's great to have, this idea, but it's also got to be something that people want to wear and use when they're recreating. And so it has to be, really good, high quality gear that performs the way people expect it to perform. And it's got to be cool. It's got to look terrific. And, that's where, the two of you, Walt, especially, I think, with, helping to develop the logo, and the icon. we look great. Uh, so the third thing is uh, helping to create more awareness and understanding and support for people that are deaf and hard of hearing, and not just those that are athletes. Anybody that's deaf or hard of hearing of all ages, anywhere they might be in the world, and their family and friends and other allies. So that hoping to generate curiosity when people are walking around in this stuff, that people want to know a little bit more. And then the fourth thing is being a values driven organization. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but I think that's really important to have a purpose beyond even the things I've mentioned, that it creates an opportunity for us to give back to the world, if you will, and not just saying it and putting it on paper, but actually making commitments to share some of the financial returns of the business, making that part of our business model with organizations that work in this space. So that's kind of what Deaf Athletic is all about.
Thanks, Dennis. That's yeah, it's such a great overview, and I do love when you talk about, it's got to be safer, it's got to perform at the highest level, but it's also, got to look incredible and be cool and kind of like obsession worthy. And I think that's a perfect seg into Walt, who, full disclosure, is also my older brother, but also a creative director and probably Walt, I think you know more about building a brand from scratch and cultivating a brand following and really designing something with longevity more than maybe anybody I know. So, do you want to talk a little bit about just how you kind of came into the fold on the Deaf Athletic brand build and just kind of how you think about creating a brand from scratch and creating something that will have that kind of must-have quality that Dennis is talking about?
Sure. Yeah, and Dennis, thanks for having us on today. Yeah, Dennis and I started talking about this sort of idea. I mean, we talked about it several years ago as sort of just like a kernel of an idea that Dennis had, and but obviously, as he mentioned, it became a much more real thing, sort of midsummer for him, and then I got sort of involved towards the end of summer, going into the fall, on developing the sort of visual branding for deaf. And it's been really fun and a cool project, and really kind of different than anything else I've worked on in terms of just really an apparel based brand identity, but with a really like strong message. And I think it from a design standpoint had some unique, I wouldn't say challenges, but just like requirements. Because I mean, I think first and foremost, the brand itself and the logo, especially, it's not just a cool, symbol on a pair of shoes. It's not just sort of an abstract idea. It's got to be very literal and very immediately understood by anyone that sees it, or else it's not really going to serve the purpose it's there to serve. So I think, we took that approach of how do we make this as sort of big and bold as we can, but really make it, look sharp and look like, something that you would pick up regardless of whether you're hard of hearing or deaf or not. Because I think it is important, like Dennis said, that, these are garments that people want to wear. It's a lot of times those like sort of safety vests that say, deaf runner or whatever it is, they're not the most stylish, and probably people aren't very excited necessarily to wear them, but they do serve a safety purpose. So we wanted to like bring that into the world of sort of more high end and more sort of desirable athletic wear and gear. And so I think we've really come up with a strong design in terms of the main logo. And then I think when you're thinking about a new brand, it's important to not. I mean, obviously, the logo is probably the first thing that most people think of when they think of branding. And that is certainly a part of it, if not the most important part of it. But it's also important to think, I think, more broadly about it. How is this logo going to live? Obviously it's going to be on garments, but it's going to appear in a lot of other, activations as well. Our Zoom backgrounds, business cards, letterhead, hats, T-shirts, patches, stickers, all that stuff. You got to kind of think about how is this going to live beyond the sort of obvious things, and then how can we build a system that really works to serve the mission of DEF. And that's an approach that I've taken on a lot of projects in my career, and I think it's exciting to sort of see it come together for DEF. And to be thinking about these things from the very start, I think sets DEF up for success, because it's if you're thinking about these things from day one, and not trying to sort of retrofit them to work after the fact, I think that really helps, and it helps establish a consistency and a quality from the jump that,
Yeah.
I think, when you're in the startup world. So full disclosure, my background, I co-own a brewery here in Columbus. And I think, we took this approach when we started 10 years ago. And I think that helped Land Grant sort of have it made us feel more established, bigger, more maybe sophisticated, maybe
Yeah.
more legit, and I think,
Sure.
and as we started out, people always kind of thought, oh, Land Grant, like they thought we were a lot bigger than we were, but it was actually just like five of us busting our ass in there. But it's that brand that gives you that sort of distinction and that immediate respect when people encounter it. If you look put together, if you look sharp, and all your stuff is all your ducks are in a row, that makes everything easier in terms of going to partners, pitching them on the ideas, selling merch, doing all these things, because you come with an air of authority. So I think the way we've approached it and the way I think we've set it up, I see nothing but success for DEF. So
Yeah, I mean, Walt, you said consistency, and I agree. I think especially the visual expression of the brand, it's consistency and it's built for flexibility. And I think that's what gets you to longevity. And the idea that as this brand goes forward, Dennis, I know that you've got more ideas up your sleeve, kind of that vision for the next era of Def Athletic and the next one after that. And so I think the brand is really postured in a way to keep on evolving alongside the athletes, the everyday people who want to sport it and want to really kind of rep Def Athletic and what it stands for. I mean, I think when I came on,
I was going to say, I kind of took on the visual aspect, and that's kind of where we started.
Yeah.
But relatively quickly, it was sort of like, okay, we need a little more expertise in sort of I was handling the visual stuff, but we needed more expertise in sort of the tone of voice, the language, the communication, and some of the strategy in terms of rolling DEF out and getting things going. So Claire, that's where you came into things. And it was sort of a natural fit, keep it in the family. And but yeah, and so that's all to say, I think it'd be nice to hear, from you about how it was for you to get involved with DEF.
Yeah, well, thanks. And I mean, Dennis, you said it kind of from the jump, and we can take credit for saying Walt and Claire, get together and work on something as creative partners. We grew up under the same roof, and Walt and I just kind of happened to work on inverse sides of brand building in our professional lives, which is interesting. But yeah, my background is in, brand voice development and kind of all the ways that gets expressed. So I cut my teeth as a copywriter and worked in different realms of advertising and branding. And yeah, my great love is figuring out what's the voice and the heartbeat of this thing, and how do we tell the story in every instance. And I think that's been really collaborative amongst everyone on this call for sure. Dennis, I think you came in with such a sharp positioning, and I think we talked a little bit about this in our conversations with both Ship Calm and Lefty Production Company, two of Def Athletics' incredible partners. But the idea of, when you have a really sharp, pointed positioning and a take on a really crowded market, but you're really finding your own avenue. I think those are the most fun brand stories to craft and the most fun voices to flex. So I think it really comes down to founder vision and having a really strong sense of positioning and what you can offer to the market. Obviously, there's a lot of performance wear brands out there, but I think Def Athletic has a really unique take of, 1 foot firmly in performance wear and putting out gorgeous, high performance, amazing product that you want to wear every day, and also a really strong sense of social conviction and the idea of cultivating community and furthering progress especially for those who identify as deaf and hard of hearing. So yeah, it's been so much fun, and I know there's a lot more coming. I think in the last few minutes of our conversation, to that point, Dennis, want to hear more from you. This is a brand that's all about reaching forward. As the founder and CEO of Def Athletic, what do you see as coming next? What's the next chapter?
Yeah. Before I answer that, I just want to say that, one of our values is around bringing people together and inclusivity, and it's been really fun getting the opportunity to work with both of you as individuals, but as a team as well. And I can remember saying really early on, if you guys work together and just, whatever overlap or disagreements or whatever, if you can just sort of like
You can just deal
deal
with
with
that.
that between the two of you, just like only come to me when you need, like, and it's worked perfectly. But it's been fun to, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to be part of the collaboration between the two of you. You know, very well highly accomplished people in your own field. So that part of it's been really fun. Um, so what's next for Deaf Athletic? The next really big step is having, products on the shelf for people to purchase on our website. And, we've got gift cards out there now. We may have hats sooner than the actual, tank tops and tees, but hopefully those will be available for purchase late spring, early summer at the latest. So that's kind of the next big thing. I think that we'll probably start looking for ways to participate in running events, probably on a pretty small scale, for sure as actual participants, but maybe also, doing some sponsorships here and there. But just, somehow getting more people putting on our samples, if you will, and being out there and exposing the brand to the general public and to our target audience. So that, that over the course of the spring and summer, we'll be doing some of that. And then, I think that, the longer term, assuming there's excitement and enthusiasm for the brand, and, I feel confident that there will be, we can start thinking about how we expand the running brand, and also think about how we start introducing some garments for other sports and really be able to bring to life this very cool system that Walt has developed, where embedded in the A is a little
like icon. Yeah, you can sort of see it in this first. If you go to the website and take a look at the running items, you can kind of see the
Yeah.
first iteration of that.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun to start rolling out, the other sports. So that's it. Um, it's it's been it's been great. I don't know, being part of this team coming together. Uh, the two of you, the folks from Lefty, um, Shipcom, and other people that have been involved in the process to help bring this idea to life. So I'm really excited about, kind of where we are and what lies ahead. And I'm, full of gratitude for everybody that's helped get us where we are so far.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dennis. Yeah, lots more to come. And for everyone watching, thanks for, tuning in today, helping support and celebrate the launch of Deaf Athletic. Make sure you go check out more, share it with your friends, your family, get those gift cards, and be on the lookout for more drops coming soon. So
Yeah.
thanks so much, everyone.
It's just the start.
Just the start.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, everyone. See you out there.
Cheers.